Hi there. Okay, so today we are going to run through a rather fun automation and example of how to use GPT-image-1, OpenAI's newest image generator. What we've got in front of us is a um, art generator. So we take an AI agent that uses Tavily API, which is a search API, to find some news articles, some news headlines. We then pass that on, get an image, download that image, create a visual artistic prompt from that image, and then we paint that in GPT-image-1, uploading it into Google Drive and then logging it in a sheet. So this is just an example, but using an image generator like this, we can, for example, have a schedule trigger on our content, blog posts, ads, etc. So it gives us a lot of use cases to actually use GPT-image-1, which is a really powerful tool. So let's give it a spin, see what it comes up with. It's currently the agent is using Tavily to search some news articles. And once that comes back, it's going to pass it on, download the image, create the visual prompt as it's doing, and now it's creating the image. So let's see what headline we got. Federal judge dismisses California's lawsuit over Trump tariffs. So there's another description of the image as well. So sometimes the image will be slightly different. We've got a P. Diddy thing here. So this might be an interesting run of what it produces. We'll have a look. It's currently uploading and it's logging. So we can probably go and have a look to see what it's brought in. Might take a couple of seconds. Let's go. Let's go back. What's it produced? Court tension. Hmm. You can see, I mean, I'll have to go and have a look at the description, but it's created something. It's created a nice image. You can see the different images that we get out of this nice Dali style painting here from a news article. So all kinds of different image styles that we can get out of GPT-image-1. So that's how it works. I'm not just going to show you this. I'm actually going to show you how to build through GPT-image-1. You can go back to different parts of the video and build it yourself. So we'll get started. Open a new workflow. We're just going to put a new trigger in here. Simply trigger manually. We could put anything like a schedule trigger in here. Even if you want to send a message from Telegram or Slack, even from uploading something into Sheets. Imagine if you've got content schedule that you're uploading into Google Sheets every time new piece of content arrives, this could trigger off. Next thing we're going to do is create an agent. So AI agent. You want to define below instead of a chat message because we're not using chat. I have a prompt. I'm just going to copy into here. Right, so we have a prompt. If I open this, you are an AI news art creator agent. Your mission is to transform current UK news into artistic masterpieces by combining news research with creative visual interpretation. What we're doing next is telling it exactly how to use the tool. So use the Tavily search tool to find the current UK news story using this JSON structure. So JSON, we're just passing the data in a structured format. Within the JSON call, we have keys, which is static, query is a key, and then we have value, which is the value of query, which is current news. This is telling the agent that to go and send that into the Tavily API. Tavily will then use that query to search. The topic, general, it's just an option that Tavily produces. We could use news or finance in there. Search depth, advanced. None of this other stuff matters really for this purpose. Include images, we want that to be true. Same as include image descriptions. We could also only include certain domains like BBC or other domains that we wanted to check. So we're telling the agent really explicitly this is what you need to send into the tool. Next, select the top most appropriate and up-to-date result. Select a story that contains a contextual image, not any brand logos or breaking news visuals. So testing this a few times, sometimes it would bring back breaking news images and try and create prompts from that. So that's just to stop that. Output format, please provide selected news headline, the image URL, and image description. So we only want three things. We want them in a very structured way. The current way to structure output is provided in the output parser. We come out of this. If we want an output parser, we want a really structured output, we click that. And then we'll go and set up the rest of the nodes. So first of all, chat model. You can use any chat model here, Gemini, if you want a free on Flash 2.0. I use OpenAI for mine. You want your credential and then just any model. I'm just using 4.0 Mini here because we don't need a powerful model in this case. So we put that over there. We don't need memory. It's not a chat. I'll get rid of that. And tools. So here we want a HTTP request tool. This is going to be the Tavily API. Before you do this, if you don't have an account, go to tavily.com, sign up, and you'll get a free 1,000 credits to use to search and then generate an API key. You would copy your API key and then go back to your workflow. And you can put it in the header. So say, for example, you haven't set a credential up, you would put authorization and then bearer space your token, replacing your token with your API key. I'm not going to do this because it will expose my API key. So I've already got a header authentication set up in here, Tavily header API. You can set up your header credential in the same way. It's much easier to do this if you're using the same API multiple times. So we need to go through these options. We're going to use a post method because we're posting data to the API. We have a URL of api.tavily.com/search. We've got a credential there. I'm going to take that out. We want to send the body as JSON using JSON, and then click this button here. We want to let the agent decide because we've already defined what that's going to send in to Tavily API. Okay, so we've got our API here. Next thing is output parser. So I'm going to go back to the original automation and show you. So we have headline as a key, and then we have an example of what it should really bring back, and same with image URL and image description. So I'm just going to copy this and put that into a structured output parser. There we go. So with that done, we can probably test it out. And see what comes back. So what have we got here? German court rules against Peruvian farmer in landmark climate suit. An aerial view depicting the courtroom where the climate lawsuit took place. So that is describing the image. If we then go on to the next step, and remember that we only told it to bring back or output one result because we're only interested in doing one item at a time. So the next step is we want to download the image. So we go to HTTP request again, and we are basically just saying get this URL here. So we pull in image URL into the URL field. I like to name my nodes, otherwise I get lost. We don't need authentication, but we do want options. So we want the response to be a file. Otherwise, it's just going to pull back um, random things. It probably won't work if we don't do this. So file, we don't need to worry about the field data. It'll pull back a file. If the file is, yeah, there it is there, data, view that file. It's a star constellation, whatever that is, an aerial view. Yeah, so sometimes comes back with different images, but we'll work with that and have a look to see what it produces. So we've got get image there. Next thing I'm going to do is do a set mode. Here I'm just setting the headline because I want to show how to use a merge node later on. So all we're doing here is taking the headline and just renaming that as news headline, setting that, and then we're going to do a merge here. We search for merge, put a merge in, connect it up. We're going to do a combine in position. So that'll just combine the image because that goes first, and then the headline and the nodes behind it. So there we have the two items. We have the binary data, which is the image, and then the binary data, and then we've got headline image URL, image description, and news headline. So we already had those three attributes coming back. So we didn't necessarily need to set the headline, but I just wanted to show how we can set, because we might want to, add things, concatenate values into there as well. So we've got our merge. Next thing that we want to do is, if we go back here, so this here, Visual Prompt Engineer, this is where we're going to take our image and have the AI analyze it to create a new prompt, artistic prompt. So we go set a new node, AI, OpenAI, and it's different here. So we're going to do analyze image. Click that. And we're going to do resource image. We're going to analyze the image, choose model, can be any again. I'm just going to use I'll actually use 4.0 this time. And I have a prompt set up. Quite long. I'm just actually going to go back to the previous one, select all of that, and then open it up. So you're a visual extraordinaire artist, prompt engineer. You create master prompts for artists based on visual cues and pre-existing images. So your task is to analyze the input image and produce a detailed prompt, and using the details and topics within the image so that you can better be correct with the AI, so that you can create a visual artistic masterpiece painting. I'm actually going to take the headline out because it was doing that more. It was using that more than the actual image itself. Um, Randomly select one artistic style from this curated list using the formula. So this is a random kind of random number generator. It's just trying to get a different style each time we run this. but it's also trying to take into account the actual context of the image. Take into account creative synthesis. So create your artistic masterpiece prompt by combining news headline, artistic vision, um, and the emotional core of the story. This is what we want out. So highly uh, accurate prompt with your artistic style, the specific visual elements, and the rendering. Take into account things like weather, cultural symbols, etc. And the output has to be this. So we've got news headline, artistic style. We're only really interested in the prompt. The other thing to note here is that I've told it specifically that it has to create a file name using 2 words that describe the image with double asterisk file name, file name. So we will move on. We've got a model, we've got a prompt. Um, the input type is actually a binary file. So this file here is a binary file input. We don't need to change this. We want to turn off simplify output because I would like to see the tokens that, and then we run along. We have our prompt. Rare celestial alignment captivates stargazers worldwide. Romanticism. A romanticism interpretation of a rare celestial alignment. So, interesting prompt. We'll, it might create an interesting style of painting. So you can see here we've got this if node here. So I'll go in and create that. So we've got if, and the reason that we do this is because if this, which is the prompt, does not exist, sorry, exists, true, then we're going to send it off. If it's false, there is no prompt to work with, and we're going to send it back to the start. So we'll zoom out by there. We're going to send it back to the agent to try again and create something new. So if we do have the prompt, then we're going to set the file name. So set field, and then I'm just going to run this, which is going to rerun the whole thing, I think, now. Might end up with something different. Yes. Long line of cars stuck in heavy traffic. Right. So we have, I'm just going to double check the image. Oh, yeah, cars. So we have our prompt, it's going off in the path. And just when we're creating new nodes, um, it's good to have the input data beside you. So you have to obviously test and run the automation to get that. Good practice is to maybe pin the data. So if I went into the AI agent here, I can pin this data here. So what that's going to do, instead of running the prompt again, it's just going to pass this data back through the automation. So anything that's got an API call or needs to get data, you might want to just pin it while you're testing it. So for example, we might want to pin this so it just always uses that. And then we've got edit fields. We're going to set the file name. File name. And we're going to go back to content. Right. So I'm just going to rename this if function. So to set the file name, remember that we told the prompt to include a file name itself. So our file name is down here in the output itself, traffic jam. So we want to try and extract that out. Now we could use a code node to do that, but you can actually do that within expressions themselves. So we've got file name string, um, expression. We can do something like this. So this is not going to work. Item dot json dot, what have we got? If we go to schema, item dot json dot choices dot, sorry, just had to look that up there. So one of the things you can use in n8n as well, if you get stuck trying to do something, you can use the AI assistant in the interface. It's really helpful if you just tell it, I want to extract this or I want to do that. It'll give you that. So we've got a regular expression here that has pulled out the file name within the prompt output, which is great. Traffic jam, it only includes that, doesn't include file name. That's good. So we've set the file name. The next thing that we need to do is create the image. So we have AI agent. Sorry, it's not AI agent. We have AI, OpenAI, and we want to generate an image. Now, before you actually do this, you will have to make sure that you've got a Plus account with OpenAI. So that's the $20 a month account. You also, to use GPT-image-1, you have to verify ID. So you have to go through verification in OpenAI account itself. And I just submitted my driver's license. It took about 10 minutes to do, and then you've got full access to GPT-image-1. The third thing that you need to do is add API token credits. So they just cover the cost of tokens when you're using and you running APIs for OpenAI. So you can just put $10 in there. The cost of an image generation is probably about 3 to 5 cents if you're using medium quality. So it'll last you quite a while just putting $10 in. So once you've done all that, you can simply use GPT-image-1 prompt. Actually, we're not going to use this node here. We are just going to use a HTTP request to call it that way so we can customize it more. We've got paint masterpiece. And so the endpoint um, for GPT-image-1 is this. So we've got V1 images generation. We paste that into our URL. Again, you're going to need authentication here. So once you've got your API key, you can set up header authentication, which is under my header off account. And then I'll take you through some of the body parameters that we're going to have to send in. So that's this one, authentication, body. So we've got a few fields that we need to fill out here to make sure that the image is generated correctly. Name of this one, so we want the model, and then we put GPT image 1. Then we have size. So we don't necessarily need to define this, but there are multiple sizes that we could choose from. We just want a square image, so it's that 1024 by 1024. We also want the prompt. and we're going to have to run this to get to see it. So where's our prompt? There. We're going to go back a couple of nodes to prompt exists and just pull in content here. There we go. So we've got our prompt. And next is the quality. So we've got three options here, low, medium, high. We're going to go medium, and I'll show you why in a second. So we've got all our values. If we go to here, so we have low, medium, high. We've got different sizes that we could choose from, landscape, portrait. Now, medium is just about 1,000 tokens, and high is 4 times that amount. So medium is probably going to cost less than 5 cents to create an image for your API tokens, whereas high is going to cost about 20 cents or more every single time that you generate an image. So it can get expensive. The high quality is worth it, but we're just going to use medium because we're just generating test images. It's fun to play about with, but you do need to put credits in your API token to get this to work. We've got that there. Let's give that a spin and just see what it produces if it works. And then we can move on to the next phase. So the next bit of uploading a file, you're going to need to do Google authentication. So Google Drive needs OAuth 2 setup credentials. One of the ways to do that is to just read the n8n documentation. You're going to need a Google Cloud Console account, and then you need to go through the instructions of setting up a OAuth client to get those credentials. But once you're done, then you're going to have access to all Google tools. You do need to enable each API one by one, so like Sheets, Drive, Google Ads, etc. I'll probably do another video on that, setting up Google credentials, because it can be quite tricky, but we don't have enough time to go through each individual step of that at the moment. Let's go back to the automation and have a look at what's produced. So we have created the image. We can't see it at the moment because it's still in base64. So we need a way to convert that. So what we do is we look at convert JSON data to binary data and use move base64 string to file. So we can't really make sense of the data that the base64 data. So we have to change it into a file before we upload it into Drive. So we have b64 underscore JSON. That's just referencing the base64. We don't need to change the output file in this field. The file name here, we could set it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to set it in the Drive, and I'll show you why in a moment. If we execute that, now we can see our file. That's actually quite good. I like that. I want to see the prompt. We have a Bauhaus, minimalist geometry, functional design. That's great. Okay, so we've got our image. Next thing we're going to set up is Drive. So again, you're going to have to go through Google credentials to do all of this. It can be quite tricky, but once you've done it, it's great. You've got access to all the Google tools. Google Drive, upload file. You would set up your credential here. Once you go through the credentials, you can see OAuth 2 recommended. This is where you would see connect to my Google Drive or sign in with my Google account once you've done your credential setup. The best thing to do is to literally go into credentials and open this doc. This resource here is fantastic. It will go through every single step, create a Google Cloud Console project, enable APIs, etc., get your consent screen set up. So all of that, just go through it if you've not done it and get that credential set up. You only have to do it once. You will have to do this part every time you use a different API like Maps or whatever it is. Then we're just going to come out of there. Our resources file, operation, upload, data, we don't need to change anything. File name is the only thing that we're going to change here. So file name, we did set a file name before, so we go back to that node. Let me just drag that in there. Traffic jam. And our parent drive is my drive, so that's all fine. Then you can choose from list or URL by ID for the folder that you want to put that file into. If you're doing anything dynamically, I would say ID is great because you can pass that ID in. I typically just do this by URL, so I'll just go to my drive and then paste that in. Then what else do we need to do? Nothing here. We can execute that and that will upload the file. So we get a lot of information back from Google Drive that we can use later on for things like sending out emails with links to that file. You know, the size of the file, for example, the file name. We don't need to log this information, but I'm just going to show you how to upload all that information into Sheets. Again, you would need to do credentials for Google Sheets and enable that API as well. We have a very simple sheet set up, which is this. We just have date, title, image URL, and news. So the reason that I want to show this is just how we create a dynamic date, for example. So you set your credential to connect with. You want sheet within account, append the row, and then you choose your sheet from the list and then your tab. So once you've created that sheet, which you have to do before you do this, and you've selected tab, then you get the columns coming up here. So with date, we want the date coming in there in case um, we want to see the date that that image was generated. So you've got some blog content that you want images for, you can match it up. So all we'd need to do here is, well, first of all, change it to expression, and then do $ now. You can see that's bringing back a date time. It's very unreadable. So if we've got format, oh, hang on, now, yeah, dot format. So we get a much more readable date, and we can edit this format however we want. I'm just going to put our minutes. So we've got time. So do that. With title, we're looking for the file name. So that's our file name. Push that into there, traffic jam. Our image URL. So if I search for web view, Google Drive is giving us links to the actual file itself. So we put that in there because if we go to our sheet, we get this link and we get a little preview. We can click on the link. If I was sending an email saying, your image is ready, click on this link, we can use that. So it's just Google Drive has loads of different web view links and content links that you can feed into output. And then the news, we want some kind of reference to what was actually generated or what the original news headline was. So if we go back to all the way back to set headline, and we just pull that in here, and we've got our Google Sheet upload. Execute that. There we go. So that's worked, and that's our full automation. If we go to our Google Sheet, we can see there it is there, traffic jam, a long line of cars trapped in heavy traffic. We click on our link, and we've got our lovely uh, minimalist geometric traffic jam. So that's pretty much it today. I think this is just a interesting example of how you can use image generation in OpenAI. If you liked this video or if it worked for you and you managed to build this through, then like and subscribe. I'll be making more videos around n8n automations, primarily for marketing use cases and particularly around Google tools. So yeah, thanks for watching.